Imagine someone hands your family a fortune worth $100 million. Not for a year, not for your lifetime. Forever. How long do you think it would last? 1 generation? 2? Maybe your great-grandchildren would still be wealthy. It sounds reasonable. After all, once you've built enough wealth, keeping it should be the easy part. Right? History says otherwise. Across hundreds of years, across completely different cultures, the same pattern keeps appearing. A family rises from nothing, builds extraordinary wealth, lives in luxury. Then, just 3 generations later, the fortune is gone. Not reduced. Gone. England has a saying for it. Shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. The family begins in work clothes, builds an empire, then ends exactly where it started. China says, wealth never survives 3 generations. Italy has its own version. So does Scotland, even Japan. Different countries, different histories, exactly the same warning. That shouldn't happen by accident. Because when civilizations separated by oceans all discover the same pattern, they're probably observing something real. And it raises a much more interesting question. Why? Most people think the answer is obvious. The grandchildren become spoiled. They buy sports cars. They throw expensive parties. They stop working. It's a nice story, but it's mostly wrong. Real fortunes rarely disappear in one spectacular moment. They die quietly, one decision at a time. A business expands too aggressively. A risky investment looks safe. A profitable company slowly loses its culture. Family members begin arguing over ownership instead of building value. Nothing seems catastrophic. Until one day, people suddenly realize the fortune that took 50 years to build has almost disappeared. The collapse feels fast. The causes were decades old. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes. They think money is what's being inherited. It isn't. Money is only the visible part. Imagine a world-class chef. After 40 years, he owns the most successful restaurant in the city. When he retires, his son inherits the building, the kitchen, the equipment, the employees, the reputation, everything, except the ability to cook. From the outside, nothing changed. Inside, everything did. Because the restaurant was never valuable because of the building. It was valuable because of the decisions being made inside it. Wealth works exactly the same way. The bank account is the result. Judgment is the asset. And judgment cannot be transferred through a will. Think about the first generation. They usually start with very little. Every mistake costs them something. A bad investment, a failed business, a loan they regret. They learn because reality forces them to. Failure becomes expensive education. Over time, those lessons become instincts. They stop asking, "Can I make more money?" and start asking, "How do I avoid losing what I've already built?" That's a completely different mindset. Now look at the third generation. They inherit the answers, but they never experience the questions. They grow up surrounded by success. The business already exists. The properties are already owned. The investments are already producing income. They see the outcome every day, but they never saw the decades of uncertainty that created it. And that's where something invisible begins to disappear. Perspective. There's a concept in psychology known as the experience gap. The farther you are from the consequences of a decision, the easier that decision looks. Imagine 2 people standing in front of the exact same business. The founder sees 20 different ways it could fail. His grandson sees 20 different ways to expand it. Neither one is necessarily smarter. One has simply paid for more mistakes. Experience doesn't just teach you what works, it teaches you what almost worked. And those lessons are impossible to inherit. This creates a strange paradox. Success protects the next generation, from the very experiences that made success possible. The safer childhood becomes, the harder it is to develop the instincts that built that safety. Comfort quietly replaces caution. Certainty replaces curiosity. And confidence begins growing faster than competence. Not because anyone is lazy, because reality stopped giving immediate feedback. Nowhere is this clearer than in one of the most famous families in American history, the Vanderbilts. Cornelius Vanderbilt built one of the greatest fortunes of the 19th century. Shipping, railroads, businesses that transformed an entire country. When he died, his family possessed unimaginable wealth. It looked permanent, yet within only a few generations, very little of that fortune remained. People love blaming the mansions, the lavish parties, the extravagant lifestyle. Those certainly didn't help. But they weren't the real cause, because spending money isn't what destroys a fortune. Spending without understanding how difficult it was to create is. And that's a completely different problem. So if money isn't enough, if intelligence isn't enough, if even billion-dollar fortunes can disappear, then what exactly are the families who survive doing differently? Because a few families have managed to preserve wealth for more than a century. Not by predicting the future, not by avoiding every mistake, but by passing down something far more valuable than money itself. And that's where the so-called third-generation curse completely falls apart. The families that break this pattern don't think about inheritance the way most people do. Ask someone what wealthy parents leave behind, and you'll hear the same answers. Money, property, businesses, stocks, trust funds. Those are inheritances, but they're not the reason the fortune survives. Imagine two families with exactly the same amount of wealth. One leaves their children $100 million. The other leaves them a way of thinking. 20 years later, which inheritance do you think is still growing? Money can only shrink if the person controlling it doesn't know why it exists. A decision-making system can rebuild the money even if it's completely lost. That's the difference. Take Hermes. Unlike many luxury brands, the company remained under strong family influence for generations. Not because the family predicted fashion trends better than everyone else. Not because they avoided every bad year. Because they built rules that were stronger than emotions. They protected long-term control instead of chasing short-term profits. Every major decision answered one question. Will this still make sense 30 years from now? Most companies ask. Will this increase next quarter's earnings? Those sound similar. They're not. One protects the future. The other borrows from it. Now think about the founder again. When he spends money, he remembers exactly how difficult it was to earn. Every purchase has a memory attached to it. Every investment has a story. Every dollar represents years of sacrifice. The third generation often sees something completely different. To them, the wealth has always existed. The company has always been successful. The family has always lived comfortably. The struggle slowly disappears from memory. And once people stop remembering what something cost, they almost always begin undervaluing it. That's true for money. It's true for businesses. And it's true for almost everything in life. There's another reason fortunes disappear. Founders usually make decisions with concentrated ownership. One person, one vision, one responsibility. 3 generations later, the family is much larger. 10 cousins, 20 shareholders, different priorities, different ambitions, different lifestyles. Some want to expand, others want to sell. Some want higher dividends, others want to reinvest. The business hasn't become weaker. The decision-making has. And weak decisions destroy strong businesses much faster than strong businesses create wealth. This is why some of the world's oldest family businesses have surprisingly strict rules. Family members aren't automatically allowed to lead the company. Some are required to work somewhere else first. Some need years of outside experience. Some must prove themselves before they receive real authority. At first, those rules seem unfair. Shouldn't owning the company be enough? Apparently not. Because ownership and competence are two different things. Confusing them may be the most expensive mistake a family can make. So maybe the third generation curse isn't really about generations at all. Maybe it's about distance. The farther you get from the struggle, the easier success begins to feel normal. And once success feels normal, the behaviors that created it slowly disappear. Not overnight, quietly, almost invisibly. Until one day the family notices something strange. The money is still there, but the people who knew how to multiply it are gone. Think back to the very beginning of this video. Imagine your family receives $100 million tomorrow. That question was missing something. The real question isn't, how much money will your grandchildren inherit? It's, what kind of people will your money create? Because money is incredibly powerful, but it has one habit that history repeats over and over again. It doesn't change people, it magnifies them. If a family values discipline, money rewards discipline. If a family values patience, money compounds patience. If a family values status more than responsibility, money accelerates the collapse. Wealth doesn't build character. Character decides what wealth becomes. So perhaps those old sayings were never warning us about money. They were warning us about memory. The first generation remembers sacrifice. The second remembers success. The third often remembers only comfort. And comfort is a terrible teacher, because comfort never explains where it came from. So here's the question I'd leave you with. If your children inherited every dollar you own, but none of the habits that helped you earn it, would they actually inherit wealth? Or would they simply inherit time until it disappeared? Because history suggests something uncomfortable. Fortunes don't usually disappear when the money runs out. They disappear when the mindset runs out first. And once that happens, the money is simply catching up.